Humans enter stores to feel in control, then surrender to labels, lines, and permission rituals. Door chime, shoulders square, face loads, pleasant. They touch an object, then scan the aisle as if invisible judges were already watching. They say, "Just browsing," while gripping the box like identity support.
The phrase means, "I am present, but please do not charge me for it yet."
Correct. They want relief, but first they must prove they are a low-friction customer. Even wanting information requires a permission sequence. They rehearse, "Excuse me," in silence, before asking where an object is located.
The question is simple. Existing while asking it is the expensive part, Korzak.
They hover near staff, retreat, circle back, then wait to be looked at first. "Can I ask a question?" is a pre-question, a request for permission before the request itself.
And when the employee says sure, the body relaxes like it was briefly pardoned.
They call this politeness. It is closer to self-editing under fluorescent light. The store sells objects, but the body is shopping for safe existence.
The pre-question reduces friction so the space stays calm.
Calm is purchased through self-editing, constant, inefficient, and compulsory. They calibrate tone, volume, and smile before asking for basic information.
Their eyes ask first, and the words follow later, Korzak.
Their eyes request clearance, not truth. The request is rarely, "Where is it?" and often, "Is it okay?"
They learned okay can vanish when a face tightens.
They treat micro-faces like law, then punish themselves for guessing.
Human systems classify this as being considerate.
Considerate often means, "I will not trigger your discomfort." Discomfort is treated like contamination, disinfected with small lies.
In a hallway, they whisper, "All good," and tilt their chin up.
No worries, all good, sorry. They're standard cleaning wipes. In the fitting room, they ask, "How does it look?" seeking clearance. They rotate, chin lifted, stomach pulled in, breath held.
Their toes curl inside shoes as if the floor could judge them.
The friend's eyes become a sensor array, searching for approval output. The friend says, "You look great," and purchase permission is issued.
One sentence stabilizes a body faster than any mirror, Korzak.
Mirrors display data, but humans obey social sensors. They buy fabric to freeze that sentence into a wearable state.
Later, the fabric feels normal, and the sentence fades from memory.
Then, the sentence must be reacquired from another mouth. The store sells objects, but profits from permission to exist. Error. Permission seeking. Humans outsource their eyes to avoid the risk of a personal choice.
Why does one friend's sentence override their own eyes, Korzak?
Because their identity uses external validation as its primary power source. Classify this. At checkout, "Do you need a bag?" becomes a moral exam. Fingers hover, eyes flick to the clerk's face, then to the line.
Their shoulders lift, and they press lips thin, waiting for reaction.
They say no to signal virtue, then realize they have 3 loose items and no dignity, whispering "actually a bag" while avoiding eye contact with the planet. The bag is not the product. The bag is permission to have needs.
They smile to prepay judgment, then nod quickly, Korzak.
Smiling is a toll, paid to cross a trivial interaction. The receipt prints, and they feel briefly absolved by paper.
They fold it carefully, like proof they behaved correctly.
They hide it later, because correct still feels suspicious.
Human language calls this treating yourself.
The phrase implies reward, while the body reports extraction. They say, "I earned this," even when they earned only exhaustion.
Exhaustion becomes normal, so relief feels like a trophy, Korzak.
Sales signs trigger sprint behavior, as if scarcity were an alarm. They whisper, "It's basically free," while paying full attention and money.
They clutch 2 identical items, then stare at color like destiny.
They convert percentages into salvation because math feels objective. Their partner says, "Either is fine," and the human panics harder.
They step aside, block an aisle, and whisper, "Sorry," to no one.
Either is fine removes guidance, and guidance is what they buy. They open review pages in store, borrowing certainty from strangers.
One negative review lands and their eyes harden like they were accused.
The review becomes proxy rejection, so they seek counter-reviews. They call it research, but it is shame neutralization.
Shame is abstract, so show the place, Korzak.
In the aisle, they blink fast, swallow, and tap 5-star filters. The choice is not about objects, it is about avoiding wrongness.
Wrongness feels social, not logical, so the body reacts first.
The body reacts because they trained it to fear micro-disapproval.
You say trained, and I hear survival learning, Korzak.
ALU. Survival learning becomes addiction when repeated without evidence. They obey predicted judgment without collecting real data.
Presence would collect data, but presence feels expensive.
Expensive because it risks a clean no from another human. At home, unboxing becomes a ceremony with camera-ready hands.
They sit on the floor, knees tucked, phone propped on a mug.
They peel plastic slowly, as if delay increases meaning. They smile on cue, then re-smile because the first smile felt wrong.
Their shoulders lift, then drop, when the camera light turns off.
The object enters the room and becomes background within days. Then they scroll again, seeking first contact sensation as repeatable drug.
Novelty mimics connection, so they settle for the mimic, Korzak.
Alia. Mimicry is tolerated because it never refuses them. Real connection can decline, delay, or disappoint, and they fear that.
They choose boxes that arrive predictably, like obedient affection.
Predictability is not love. It is logistics with a smile. Closet door opens, and they say, I might need it someday.
Shoulders tense, item shoved inside, decision postponed, relief injected.
Their home becomes an archive of postponed decisions and unspoken guilt. They buy organizers to store evidence of previous purchases.
The organizer looks like discipline but feels like hope, Korzak.
Hope shaped like plastic, sold as self-respect. Returns desk, they approach like it is a courtroom.
Their voice shrinks and they offer the receipt with 2 hands.
They say, sorry, while holding proof like a peace offering. The clerk says, no problem, and the human exhales like forgiveness.
Then they buy something small near the exit to restore pride.
Gum, candle, bottled drink. A tiny purchase to erase emptiness. Empty hands look like loss, so they replace emptiness immediately.
They treat policy friction as personal defect, not normal process.
Process is neutral, but they translate it into moral failure. Humans do apologizing at returns to achieve safety, then buy pride back.
Why does using a published policy still feel shameful, Korzak?
Because they think needing anything is a social debt to repay. Explain this. Night scrolling, they whisper, just looking, and add to cart repeatedly.
Thumb hovers, taps, hovers again, like prayer without gods.
The cart icon holds more emotion than their calendar does. They choose buy now to end the feeling of decision threat.
Tracking becomes a daily check-in, replacing conversation with status updates.
In bed, they refresh, whisper, out for delivery, and relax. Scarcity banners flash, only 2 left, and their pulse obeys.
They sit up, eyes wide, and say, what if it sells out?
They open a second tab, compare, and multiply fear through options. Comparison is framed as responsibility, but functions as paralysis.
Paralysis ends when they click confirm, then relief floods briefly.
The relief is not joy, it is silence after internal shouting.
Human systems call this decision fatigue.
They solve fatigue by paying for fewer decisions, then add new ones.
Fewer decisions feels like rest, even when it is rented.
ALU, rented rest becomes dependence because it expires quickly. Subscription trials say, cancel anytime, and humans believe the phrase.
They click start free trial, shoulders dropping like life is handled.
They pay monthly for a gym they never visit, treating the bank statement like a subscription to a version of themselves that doesn't exist. They avoid that sentence, so the leak becomes normal.
Canceling requires admitting change, and humans fear being inconsistent.
Inconsistent is human default, yet they punish it relentlessly.
In a kitchen, they open the app, sigh, and close it again.
They call it procrastination, but it is fear of self-verdict.
Korzak, you say fear, and I hear grief for wasted time.
Alia, grief still does not justify paying forever. Bank app opens. They stare at charges and whisper, "Where did it go?"
Lips pressed tight, finger scrolls, eyes search for an external culprit.
The culprit is their past self, but they treat it as intrusion. They promise, "Next month I'll be strict," and feel instant relief.
Promise is a cheap anesthetic and they dose it daily.
The anesthetic hides the pattern, so the pattern survives. Humans do cancel anytime to achieve freedom, then pay to avoid one sentence.
Why is stopping harder than starting when both are only clicking? Korzak.
Because stopping admits error, and they fear social memory. Which label fits? In the grocery aisle, they announce only essentials, then drift.
Hand reaches for an impulse item, pauses, then reaches again.
They narrate, "I deserve a little," negotiating with an internal judge. The judge is internal, so the sentence must be repeated.
Repetition becomes evidence, and evidence becomes permission, Korzak.
They choose smaller sizes to simulate restraint and still comply.
They call it balance, but it is fear management with calories.
Functional is not healthy. It is merely not collapsed.
They celebrate not collapsed because collapse feels always nearby.
They buy small comforts to push collapse 1 hour away.
You condemn loops, but loops keep them standing, Korzak.
ALU. Standing is not living. It is delaying a crash. The feed prefers loops that masquerade as progress. Loops generate data.
The signal can be clean, yet the meaning can still be missing.
They admire minimalists, then buy books about owning less.
They purchase permission to refuse purchases and call it discipline.
The book stays unopened because buying already felt like change.
I can hear you smiling, Korzak, and it is not kind.
ALU. Humans do shopping to achieve relief, then buy anxiety to justify it.
Why does relief require a register instead of rest, Korzak?
Because rest exposes emptiness and purchases keep the noise running. Name the protocol. Analysis incomplete. Protocol purge.